Welcome on in, everybody, to the Postgame Pod here at Auburn Undercover. Nathan King, joined by Jason Caldwell. A great, thrilling game today at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, but one that Auburn was not able to come up on the winning side of. 24-17, Oklahoma wins this one today. Jackson Arnold led a touchdown drive. Auburn takes the lead, 17-16, with 7 minutes left in this game, but it was sort of fitting the way it ended because John Mateer goes down the field, and credit to them, in only like 2 minutes to take the lead. But penalties set Auburn way back on that last drive, and Oklahoma gets its 8th, 9th, and 10th sack of the game, including the last one, which was a safety in the end zone against Jackson Arnold. So really those two factors, Auburn had a lot of positives in this game and a lot of things it can learn from, but really the penalties and the sacks really set Auburn back and ultimately were too much for this team to overcome.
Mistakes was number one in this game. When you look at, like I said, penalties.
Mistakes by the officials.
I mean, we'll touch on those too. But, you start with penalties, but you look at a couple of kick returns where you have a penalty. You also have a punt return that you field on your goal line and start at the 3. You have a bad snap on a punt that leads directly to a touchdown. I mean, like, those are the mistakes you can't make in a game like this. You can make them sometimes, but you can't make those and win at Oklahoma. And then you have opportunities in scoring plays where you have Cam Coleman a couple times behind the defense, a couple times overthrown, then one's, a jump ball basically, and probably got it hit a little bit early. But you have to make some of those plays, and Auburn just didn't make them. And to Oklahoma's credit, but they didn't flinch. They just kind of kept coming back, and defensively they just attacked. And I think Auburn's inability to have success on first down, Oklahoma came in and gave Auburn a different look than we've seen. Like they were at the line of scrimmage, they were attacking early, and they said, "Look, we're not going to let you run the football." And they made Auburn throw it. They did early. Just couldn't make enough of those connections because of the sacks as well.
Yeah, and to Jackson Arnold's credit, I mean, number one, he used 220 passing yards is certainly not too bad. They moved the ball, stretched the ball down the field a few times in a game where they had been waiting to do that. Like you said, Oklahoma kind of dared them to do that, and had a lot of gutsy moments in this game, particularly on that last drive. Converts a 4th and 11 with his legs, had a bunch of good completions, but Oklahoma just overwhelmed Auburn at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. We were talking about it. You may be, and Hugh Freeze said at post-game, did Jackson Arnold hold on to the ball too long? It goes back to what Hugh Freeze said a few weeks ago of like, hey, when we were asking about pass protection, he's like, it's a lot of things. Yeah. It is, did we give the pocket the right depth? It is running back picking it up. Is quarterback holding it?
Not just all offensive
Correct.
line.
It's not just, the tackle missed a guy. There were a couple of those.
There were a couple of those, but there were a couple of times where you go like, hey, that's 3-4 seconds. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, the clock needs to be
It was a little bit of everything. I said, especially once we saw what Oklahoma was doing, that you had to speed that clock up a little bit more. And the other part they did not allow it. Now, he did have a big run there, but they weren't going to let Jackson Arnold beat them with his legs. Auburn did much of the same way against John Mateer, except for the one touchdown run. Other than that, they did a pretty good job as well. But, mistakes, penalties, missed opportunities. It's hard to win at a place like this when those happen.
You mentioned the missed opportunities. I mean, and Jackson Arnold talked about it post-game. I mean, it's a throw that he's going to really want back, but Cam Coleman puts a devastating double move on the outside. By the way, that was the play right after Jeremiah Cobb rips a big 44. So it's the part of the field you want to throw that kind of play. And look at the replay. Overthrown, he barely misses him. I mean, it's inches there. And then you had a play earlier in the game where it seemed like there was some miscommunication. Cam Coleman was open, stops his route. Arnold thought he was going to keep going. And then the jump ball, I thought, you mentioned the other one being a good time to draw it up. I thought that was a great call. Like a perfectly timed jump pass or a double pass.
Yeah, I think a couple of those situations, Fred, Cam keeps running a little bit. He probably catches it.
Sure.
But he stops short, jumps, got contact a little early as well. And Auburn wound up scoring a touchdown. So that one, it didn't impact as much. But the other ones were really costly. And a lot of other costly plays in this game as well.
For sure. I meant to say as well, like we were talking about the pass protection. When you give up 10 sacks, it's a group effort. Like there's a lot of blame.
Yes.
When you miss opportunities, plays like this, it's also a group effort. Like Cam Coleman probably wants some of those moments back as well. But we missed opportunities and little moments here that doomed Auburn in this game. There were also a couple calls that Auburn really was upset about, and we don't, in our site, and we don't like to harp on this stuff too much because it's ticky-tacky a lot of time. But this one was very clear.
You have to talk about 2 plays in this game. You have to, and it's really 3 plays, to be quite honest, because 2 of the plays are connected. The first possession there, Wide receiver bobbles, catches, takes a couple of steps,
Yeah.
rolls over the defender, ball pops out, Canley picks it up, runs for a touchdown. I'm in the end zone. Me and Patrick are on the field. You're upstairs, so I don't see replays. But when they come back as an incomplete pass, I'm kind of blown away. I'm like, I don't see how that happens. Then later in the game, Arkansas catches a pass, takes 2 steps, the ball gets ripped out of bounds. They say, no, it's a completed catch. In my opinion, you can't have one without the other.
No, you can't have one or the other. And the egregious one that, and again, I don't necessarily we don't throw those kinds of words around, but when you have something like that is so cut and dry, it's understandable for Auburn to be upset about it. Hugh Freeze is understandably very upset about it. He said in postgame, obviously, like he's gonna bite his tongue, but he's really interested to see what the SEC says. Basically, Isaiah Sategna, the receiver, catches that first touchdown for Oklahoma. Not only was he coming off the field and faking a substitution, lines up way outside the numbers, so he was. We wondered as soon as the play happened. Yeah,
2 yards.
He's hugging the sideline, and we wondered when the play happened. It's like they're basically in the red zone. How are you open by 15 yards? Well,
Correct.
They didn't even know he was on the field. Aside from Auburn trying to call a timeout, we won't harp on this for too long. But Hugh Freeze said post game, mentioned the NCAA rule about deceptive plays.
Yes.
The kicker to me here is that a bunch of Oklahoma reporters shared with us during the game. Oklahoma's radio broadcast confirmed that was by design. They drew up that play during the week to pretend like he was coming off the field. And so whether you can catch something like that in the moment, that's really tough. But just, number one, the fact that you didn't catch it, but number two, the fact that nothing could be done about it, I guess, really, really hurt Auburn because it put a touchdown on the board.
And Auburn was trying to call timeout several seconds.
Noticing something was off.
Yes, what we're told. Hey, look, you can see that from the booth. Hey, he's still on the field. Call timeout. Trying to get a timeout call, didn't happen. Yeah, a receiver leaves the field. My understanding that if you cross the numbers toward the sidelines, to be eligible for the play, you have to come back inside the numbers before the ball is snapped. He didn't do that. He went to the sidelines, pretended like he was going off the field, stayed there, and they snapped the ball. It's supposed to be a 15-yard penalty. So big plays in this game, in a game that was decided by, a touchdown because of that late safety. But that's a 5-point game. Obviously, Auburn gets backed up in that 2-minute drill and couldn't do anything. But those are massive impact plays.
Yeah, I would encourage everybody. Patrick Greenfield, one of our buddies, works for AL.com. Go to his Twitter. He's got a good video of the sequence. It's almost kind of hilarious when they do the view from the other end zone and he's right on the sideline. And it's you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. But as many gripes as you can have with that, one thing Auburn can have gripes about is the amount of penalties they put on themselves in this game. And we mentioned them backing themselves up on special teams. The special teams, botched plays by the snap and Malcolm Simmons, but offensively as well, Jason. It's just, even on that last drive, I know you were backed way up, but there were a couple times too you got way out and you would just go back to, how many 2nd and 25, 2nd and 28s in this game?
You asked me what Auburn's third down distance was, and I thought 14 yards. You said it was a little over 11.
11 and a half.
When you average over 11 yards for every third down attempt, you're going to have a tough day offensively.
And you're going to get sacked a lot.
Yeah, and so for all those things, the other side of the ball was about as good.
Absolutely.
That defensive performance was what we thought this defense was going to be to start the season. Flying around, getting pressure, doing a good job. You're going to give up some yards when you play a team like this, but, man, to look up and go, hey, all the things we just mentioned, you have a 12-yard drive for a touchdown because of the botched punt, and then, the play on the sidelines, hold them to a couple of field goals, held Oklahoma to 40, 50-something yards rushing. That's a winning performance by this defense and something they can build on.
Sure, 22 points, basically. Oklahoma scores, and so because of that safety at the end. Yeah, Mateer's a great player. He completes 16 of his last 17 passes in this game. Much more efficient moving the ball down the field in the second half, but still, most of those times, they had a couple nice drives, both of them ended in field goals. And so, again, I think it's another case of, I think the defense did take some steps forward today. It's another case of you look up, and that scoring average, that's going to get shattered this year. They held Baylor to 24. Baylor's going to score way more than that. They held South Alabama to 15.
Yeah.
They did what we said they needed to do in this game, which was, hey, they're good. They're going to get you a few times, but you need to find some key stops and key moments. I thought Auburn took some strides on defense today. And Jason, going into next week, there's really no time for this team to lick their wounds about this game. They need to build on what worked today and go into Texas A&M, another ranked team, another top 15 team on the road next week in College Station. And again, you and I were talking earlier, came away from this game feeling like I still feel the same about the quality of Auburn, that I think they're a team this year. I think they're still a pretty good team, but you cannot. You said it well. Like, this is Oklahoma. This is a good team on the road. You're not going to beat good teams on the road with the mistakes that you made today.
No, yeah, you got to play cleaner football. It didn't turn it over, and so that's still a positive here. But
absolutely.
You can't win with penalties, missed opportunities, those things. But this is a team that we said, look, coming into this season, they're good enough to go compete with anybody on the schedule. They showed that today. They didn't play great, but still competed with this team. You play better, you win, and that's the challenge now for them as you get ready for Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, the glass half full side of things, which there's there's a lot of good things Auburn did in this game. Is like, you talk about those 13 penalties, all the missed opportunities you had, and yet you have the ball with a chance. You have the ball with a chance, and if you don't have that penalty, you're set up at like the 20-yard line to try to go down and win the game. And so Jackson Arnold's return to Oklahoma results in a win for his former team, 24-17. The Sooners win this one. Auburn starts 0-1 in SEC play, first loss of the season. And as I mentioned, they'll go right back to it this week, getting ready for another road game out to the western side of the country to Texas A&M. And so for Jason Caldwell, I am Nathan King. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Postgame Pod. We've got a bunch of great stuff up at auburnundercover.com. Tons of content tonight on Saturday, and we'll be flying back nice and early, but we'll still have tons of content for y'all into Sunday and Monday as well. So keep it locked over there, and we'll talk to y'all soon.